Greetings, one and all, it is I, Transformers Fan Code 328, and I am here to actually do something that most people don't really do. Address some errors that I have, as well as some trivia relating to me. This totally doesn't sound like an ego boost, does it? Anyway, let's begin.
Death penalty!
Ah, yes. Remember my second video?
Welcome back to part 2.
Not that one! Ah, yes. Here we go. This video was basically what I made out of... Well, I had intention to make it that I didn't necessarily have time, not to mention the fact that I needed to grab the resources that I needed. And it didn't turn out as I intended, primarily because I cannot scream.
Oh my god, it's the return of Onslaught! Somebody get all the Capcom motor wheels to take him down!
At least, not in that sense. That was so forced of a scream that I ended up sounding very quiet. My god, it's so stupid. Basically what I was saying is that, oh my god, it's the return of Onslaught. Someone please get all the Marvel and Capcom heroes and or villains to take him down. As in referencing the fact that Onslaught was from Marvel vs. Capcom 1 as the final boss of that game, and you get the point now. Otherwise, there's no real point into covering this any further.
Hello, ladies. Look at your man. Now back to me. Now back at your man. Now back to me.
I am very well aware that I missed quite a few Old Spice parodies in my Old Spice mashup with Isaiah Mustafa, Big Mac from My Little Pony, Megatron from G1, and Grover from Sesame Street. Basically, what I was doing was compiling 4 of them that I actually knew. And some of them I did know, I just didn't remember. Specifically, there were parodies of Old Spice by people like Deadpool and Puss in Boots. And again, I had completely forgotten about them, but I clearly saw them before I made that video. So, it's not the idea that I don't know them, I just forgot about them upon making the video.
Mr. Sandberg, thanks for coming to your performance review. No problem. So you're in charge of it.
I'm pretty sure you know my first video on Sony Vegas. The last video I made on Sony Vegas was The Lonely Island Are Like Sauce. And the first video I made on iMovie was the Kirby commercial shorts. Like, what's the Kirby commercial short? Yeah, which would probably explain why some of the video clips were not as good of quality as later videos. Even then, I really doubt it really matters, because it seems like really nobody even cares about my videos anymore. But anyway, on to the next part.
A whole lot. Take, for example, Starscream's death in Transformers Armada. That left a huge impact because the character had a lot of development and had time to develop, unlike Professor British, and was killed off in a more threatening way. He was valiantly sacrificing his life to end Unicron's reign, but Unicron knew he was going to get hit. So Unicron sent a lightning blast down, so powerful that Starscream not only died, but his very body was eradicated. The beam never reached its destination. That gave a sense of Unicron's threat in that show.
The funny thing about that was that even though I grew up with Transformers Armada, I only grew up with the first half. I never really got to watch the Unicron portion, and thusly I never caught the episode Cramp, which was the episode where Starscream died. It's just that even though I grew up with the Armada version, I just never got the chance to see the big part, the really good part of Transformers Armada. As a kid, I somewhat got confused with the Unicron trilogy when Unicron actually started getting involved in it, and I just stopped watching it. I mean, yes, every now and then I did end up watching like 1 or 2 episodes of Energon or Cybertron when they were on for the sake of, watching something Transformers related, but for the most part, I never really got to see what Transformers, the Unicron trilogy, was so good about. Especially Cybertron, I completely missed that show.
The earth shudders, my brother.
You guys remember when I made that video where Master of Shadows dislikes My Little Pony Friendship is Magic? That video was a major test of my voice work for one of the most nostalgic characters for me. Transformers Armada was not the only thing I grew up with. I grew up with Bionicle a lot. and the Makuta was easily one of the most intimidating figures of my childhood. And thusly, I figured I'd bring him into the mainstream as much as I could, and thusly why he's being involved in the plot of Revenge of the Fallen: The Real Revenge. However, I had intended something else with Makuta. When I made that video, I had all intention of leading up to a dramatic reading of the infamous My Little Pony fanfiction, Cupcakes. Yes, that Cupcakes. No censorship, no
Chaos Dimension!
nothing but the truth, the blatant fanfiction as it was. The thing is, though, that at the time, I didn't think things through as much as I should have. Again, that Makuta video was just a setup for the main antagonist of this arc that I was creating to lead up into the dramatic reading. As in, I was waiting for my Mac in order to get the dramatic reading. To further cement this, at the end of my Katy Perry Last Friday Night analysis, I had a scenario where I was going to reveal my mom's birthday video, but right before I did, the Roxy showed up and kidnapped me. And thusly, it ended up being a cliffhanger ending. Second, the other video I was making is not only a continuation of my plot, but as an analysis video for the Dread Dormammu. Basically, what I was doing here was establishing that the Makuta was keeping me held prisoner. But at the same time, he was giving me quite a few freedoms. And one of those freedoms was, in fact, being able to do an analysis video before a due date. The reason why the Dread Dormammu put a due date of October 1st of 2011 for that analysis video to be made was just to time with the release of the episode. Specifically, the analysis was of the Doctor Who Series 6 finale trailer for The Wedding of River Song. And he only put a deadline on that analysis for the sake of timing it with the episode's launch. That was it. There was no, he needed to use it for a certain thing on that very day, or he needed it for proof or something. He just wanted it to time with the release of the episode, even though I never watched the show to begin with. I actually told my sister that I was planning to do that analysis video, but she wasn't necessarily fond of it. To be specific, my family watches my videos, but they're not fond of me displaying a lot of things that are essentially from a little girl's cartoon show. And at the same time, the only time they really saw the ponies on my channel, that was the big one by the way, was my third video, which was basically an analysis of CS188's My Little Pony YouTube poop. Just go look it up. Find out why I had to remove that, and why my parents don't, and why my family does not necessarily have fondness for the ponies. And in the end, I felt bad and decided to actually cancel the dramatic reading in a more unique yet anticlimactic way. What I basically did was that I took Megatron literally from my ass, pressed the button on his fusion cannon, and shot Makuta to death when he had insisted on making the dramatic reading happen. That was the whole point of that intro bit. Not a big loss, but it's something. You're seriously questioning Dark Phoenix, the most powerful being that I think anyone will ever see? Yeah, I really only said that because of her status in Marvel 3. In Marvel vs. Capcom 3, her power essentially made her incredibly cheap. Like, she's infamous online for practically being the next Sentinel alongside Wesker. However, what makes Phoenix stand out, if she has a completely full hyper gauge, she can become the Dark Phoenix, she also has the lowest health in the entire game, at around 480,000, I believe. And I think that health actually got even lower in Ultimate, to around 375,000, or something like that. What, did they actually raise the amount of health for those that already had a giant amount of health? Oh, wait. And because of that low health, that is why when the Makuta touched her, nearly touched her, she died of a hyper combo. Yes, the Makuta touching someone is a hyper combo. Really, I was just poking fun at how overpowered, yet incredibly weak she was. She was the glass cannon, in probably the truest sense of the word, without being literally literal. If that even makes sense to you guys. I am well aware that even in the Marvel Universe, there are plenty of beings that are stronger than the Dark Phoenix, like Thanos, or Apocalypse, or even Dormammu. I just brought this up because of how powerful she was in Marvel 3, and nothing else. I knew well enough there are plenty of beings far stronger than she is. I just brought that up for the sake of, again, making sure the Makuta wouldn't touch her and then kill her. So that was it. I hope you enjoyed it, and well, I gotta go practice my combos with Zero, Virgil, and whatever third character I choose.